H.G. Wells once wrote, "After your first day of cycling, one dream is inevitable. A memory of motion lingers in the muscles of your legs, and round they seem to go. You ride through dreamland on wonderful dream bicycles that change and grow."
I started off with a little pink bike with sparkly bits on, and it had stabilisers.
Also ich habe mein erstes Fahrrad, glaube ich, so mit 3, 4 Jahren bekommen. Es war ein ganz süßes kleines Fahrrad mit Stützrädern und gelb, blau, rot war das. Und das fand ich total toll.
My dad held onto the back of my bike and ran along with me with my stabilisers on, and I was like, "No, let go, Daddy, let go, Daddy." And eventually he did, and I fell off my bike.
He got me a little pink bike. It was tiny and it had like wheels, like 2 wheels at the back.
Fahrradfahren ist schön.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's fantastic. I would go and ride a bike in style.
Ich bin Ona, ich bin aus Bremen und ich kann deine Situation verstehen, weil hier in Bremen haben wir eigentlich relativ viele Fahrradwege und ich fahre, wenn ich Fahrrad fahre, immer auf dem Fahrradweg, meistens ohne Helm. Und ich fühle mich, wenn ich auf der Straße fahre und wo viele Autos sind, meistens auch bedroht von den Autos, weil man sich so ein bisschen eingeengt fühlt. Und ja, deswegen kann ich das schon verstehen, dass du nicht so gerne Fahrrad fährst und dass du dir eine Art Radweg wünscht.
Sound on, camera running, mark it.
Okay, Beauty and the Bike auditions, Northern Echo, take 1.
Do you cycle?
No.
Well, no, not at the moment.
Do you cycle to school?
No.
I go in the car.
No, I live too far away.
Sheet, take 1.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Cycled quite a lot when I was little, but I don't really use bikes regularly, like going to school or to see friends. I either walk or get a lift off my parents, which is a bad habit really.
Well, I just never thought about bikes no more. I thought, well, I'm grown up now and got into more girlier things like shopping and stuff like that, so I never thought about using bikes anymore. I thought it was just a little kid's thing.
If your friends see your parents and say, "Hi, your parents are riding a bike, what are they doing? Why can't they just take the car?"
In the car, because that's how I normally get to school, it takes around, on a morning, about half an hour to get there because of the traffic on the roads is so bad.
If there are more cycle paths around Darlington as well, I think that would be a great help because living near a main road is a little bit off-putting when you know, you've got to get somewhere on your bike and there's not a lot of room to do that and you feel a little bit unsafe in a way.
No, the only reason I don't get a bike is because it's not cool having a bike. You know, now I'm 16, I have friends, loads of friends, like Emily, she's one of my best friends, she doesn't have a bike. Lauren, Ashley, Lizzie, Hayley, none of them have a bike. Yeah, but I do like bikes, I used to have one. Well, I had loads, but you know.
I'm always cycling alone now. There's no one else who does in my year. You do get funny looks, and sometimes people say, "Why do you cycle to school?"
Yeah, it's just me on my own, but I think there's 2 other girls in the school who cycle in year 7, so they've just come up.
It's not seen as anything stylish, so it doesn't appeal to girls.
I was born in the UK. I then lived in the UK until 2007 when we decided we were going to make a move over here to the Netherlands. I went from being a young man who was confident of cycling in the traffic on my own to someone who had to look after some children. And you realise that there are risks that you'll take on your own that you don't necessarily want to take when you have children. And this was part of a realisation that the environment wasn't really very good for cycling after all.
Well, in England we didn't really cycle much, but we cycled some places, like to my friend's house. But then Dad or Mum always had to come with me because it was quite dangerous still. But now I can cycle to school, which is quite far away, not too far though, with all my friends, and Mum and Dad don't have to come because it's not very dangerous. There's always bike paths and everything, so it's good.
I have to say that my experience in Britain is that not a lot of real change is happening. There seems to be a reluctance to tackle changing the infrastructure to make it actually attractive to cyclists. And unless you can make people attracted to cycling, they won't cycle.
What we've got is a message from Ricarda and Dina. We've recorded you a video box message.
Hallo Kate, ich bin Ricarda und 17 Jahre alt.
Ich bin Dina und ich bin 16 Jahre alt.
Wir haben uns gerade den Trailer angeguckt, wo du auch drin bist, und wir finden das sehr interessant, dass du uns erstens beneidest, dass wir Fahrrad fahren, und dass du uns so schick findest auf den Fahrrädern, weil wir sehen bestimmt nicht immer schick aus auf dem Fahrrad, wenn wir vom Sport kommen und völlig verwuschelt sind oder zur Schule fahren oder so. Aber wir freuen uns, wenn du dann auch mal mit uns hier Fahrrad fahren kannst.
Ich weiß nicht, was ich noch sagen soll.
Ja, und wir finden das sehr mutig von dir, dass du trotz allem, obwohl sonst keiner Fahrrad fährt, dich da durchschlägst und alleine Fahrrad fährst. Und wenn du herkommst, haben wir zusammen Spaß, dann kannst du mit uns rumfahren. Dann guckt dich keiner komisch an, bestimmt.
Und wenn wir dann nach England kommen, dann fahren wir mit dir auch Fahrrad. Und dann gucken uns alle auch blöd an. Und dann bist du nicht alleine.
Wie du dich fühlst.
Genau. Und dann zeigen wir denen, dass es sehr wohl cool ist, wenn man mit dem Fahrrad fährt.
Gut. Bis dann.
Okay, tschüssi. I'm very jealous in a way of how they get to cycle and how it's such a big thing. And I love the way they incorporate style and relaxation, socialising into it. And I think it's nice how they have a lot more cycle paths, and it's easier to get around on bikes, where it's not like that here. I just say keep at it.
What would make you interested in cycling?
Well, what would catch my eye, because I want to, if I see someone, you know, that will catch my eye to go, like, you know, if I see someone very, like, fashionable at the same time, but using a bike, because, you know, I've never seen, like, someone wearing high heels and then using a bike, because they normally wear flat shoes and stuff like that.
I think bike can be quite ladylike. It depends on the bike you get.
One of the key parts of this project has actually been the establishment of a bike pool. the fact that we've got a load of really sort of pretty Dutch bikes has meant that the girls have all been like, wow, I really want to ride these, you know, I'm going to look really good on this bike.
I spent my professional life as a doctor and ultimately as a surgeon. I'm retired now, been retired for a few years. The area of surgery that I worked in was orthopaedic surgery, which is the branch of surgery that deals with arthritis, replacing joints when they're worn out and so on, but also dealing with accidents. So I've been able to see the broad range of how time affects joints, how people grow old and become less active, and also the way in which human beings conspire to damage each other by the way they live their lives, be it in wartime or on the roads. The levels of activity that most of us now undertake are a fraction of what they were a century ago, when people spent their entire day in physical activities. The great majority of the population did that.
I just want to get the handlebars out of the way, Beatrix, that's what we're trying to do. Because we've got too many variables and floppinesses going on at the moment.
Any physical activity is good, but the more regular that it is, and the more that it's part of your life, the more effective it is.
Right, okie dokie.
Pedals. You can see like it is when somebody
Pedals.
takes the key out.
There you go. And what's the rule on pedals?
Use them? I don't know. What do you want me to say?
The left one has a left-hand thread and the right-hand one has a right-hand thread, so that you will always be tending to tighten it.
Any animal that walks on two legs walks very inefficiently. Walking is actually a process of continually falling over, but managing to get a foot down before you actually fall over. That is what it is. More than 40 years ago, a study was published that showed that the most efficient system in the animal kingdom is a man on a bicycle, or a woman on a bicycle, a human being on a bicycle. That is very efficient when you are putting that power into something which drives through a rotating system. So cycling is very much more efficient. The amount of energy you actually use cycling a given distance in a given time is very much less than walking.
You have the great advantage with handlebars like this that they're actually built anatomically correct.
What is the correct thing
I'll show you a minute. Now when you're on the bike, that is a natural position for your hand to hold something like that, you see. If you put it like that, you're tilting your wrist into an unnatural position.
It's true, yeah.
Right.
And the great thing about cycling is it's helping your pocket, it's helping the environment, and it's helping your own health, and will continue to do so.
Ready?
Yep.
Yes. A strange flickering action.
They're not sisters. I'm confused. Are they sisters or are they not? Yeah.
They live in the same house.
That makes them sisters.
Alright, who's up next then?
Not me.
Okay, sure.
I'm a bike like that.
Kate, do you want to go?
Well, not like that, but like.
Yeah.
I think that one's better
Yeah,
than
that's
the strike.
I like that one.
But I haven't tried the other two. So
I like my bike.
I like Beatrice's bike best.
What would you wear on the bike?
What I would wear? School uniform, some
Obviously.
kind of belt, earrings, necklaces, rings.
Not
I'm joking.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm gonna stick on the heels.
Found a bunch of trailblazing, courageous young women
who want to change it here in Darlington. They want to break the mold that surrounds cycling in Britain.
For the Dutch bikes, I would be very keen to use them riding to school because they're a bit of a statement. If my friends got involved as well, I think it'd be great just to use them for everyday activities because you feel good on them.
We got 3 bikes for you to look at. I lifted the saddle already a bit because you need a proper lever.
Okay.
Yeah, if you sit upright, you need a proper lever to push the pedals. Have a try.
I didn't even realise, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Am I going the right way up the road this time? And you know, have you always had
Today we went and collected our bicycles from the bike hire. Once we got our bicycles, we went to the park and got a group photo. As we were cycling there, we noticed that everyone has bikes. I mean, no matter how old, how young you are, everyone's on them. And there are a few cars, but considering it's quite a big city sort of thing, there's not actually as many as you'd expect. And then later on we went for a tour of Bremen, which was very interesting.
Bremen ist eine Fahrradstadt. Bei uns in der Stadt werden ungefähr 25% aller Wege mit dem Fahrrad zurückgelegt. Es ist also kein randständiges, unbedeutendes Verkehrsmittel, sondern ein bedeutendes Verkehrsmittel, das wir auch noch weiter ausbauen wollen, weil es unserer Stadt gut tut, weniger Autos, weil es dem Klima gut tut, weniger CO2-Ausstoß und weil es der Gesundheit unserer Bürgerinnen und Bürger gut tut. Das Ziel ist, dass wir den Anteil des Radverkehrs von heute knapp 1/4 auf deutlich über 30% bringen. Das heißt, wir wollen Rahmenbedingungen schaffen, die es attraktiv erscheinen lassen für unsere Bürgerinnen und Bürger, aufs Fahrrad umzusteigen. Und zwar es nicht nur als Freizeitgerät zu nutzen, sondern auch als Alltagsgerät. Denn das ist ja das Besondere daran. Und da werden verschiedene Maßnahmen ergriffen. Das geht vom Ausbau der Radwege, Verschmälerung von Straßen und gleichzeitig mehr Platz geben für Fußgänger und Radfahrer. Parkmöglichkeiten für Fahrräder, auch das ist ganz wichtig.
Weil das erstens ein schnelles Transportmittel ist, zweitens der Umwelt zuliebe, man muss kein Geld bezahlen. Ja, das sind eigentlich so die 3 wichtigsten Gründe, um Fahrrad zu fahren.
Unabhängigkeit bedeutet und Flexibilität. Und also das war früher eigentlich auch schon so. Wenn ich kurz zu einer Freundin fahren wollte, auch als ich 8 Jahre alt war oder so, konnte ich das alleine machen und meine Eltern mussten mich nicht mit dem Auto bringen. Oder wenn ich zum Beispiel zum Gitarrenunterricht gefahren bin, dann konnte ich das auch alleine machen. Das war auch immer ein wichtiger Punkt, dass es in der Nähe ist, damit ich überall so ganz alleine hinkomme.
Wir fahren hier mit dem Fahrrad durchaus gemütlich. Wir sind nicht ambitionierte Rennradler, sondern wir fahren gemütlich zur Arbeit. Das heißt, auch ich bin heute mit dem Fahrrad zur Arbeit gefahren und komme also ohne Schweißflecke hier an und kann auch ganz normal, ruhig, gemütlich nach Hause fahren.
Wenn man mit hohen Absätzen oder Kostüm fährt, es hat sich hier eben so eine Kultur entwickelt. Alle fahren Fahrrad oder fast alle. Meine Kollegen durchs ganze Gericht hindurch fahren eben alle möglichen Leute Fahrrad. Und ich finde das eine sehr gute, angenehme Kultur. Und es führt eben auch dazu, dass der Straßenverkehr in Bremen im Vergleich zu anderen Großstädten eben angenehmer ist.
Also ich mache mir schon relativ viele Gedanken, so wie das später so sein wird mit der Umwelt und denke dann schon immer, ja, ist ja eigentlich dann ganz gut, dass ich relativ viel mit dem Fahrrad fahre, weil wenn jeder so denken würde, dann würde es ja vielleicht auch was bringen. Okay, es fahren sehr viele mit dem Auto und die Umwelt wird ohne Ende verschmutzt, aber wenn man so ein bisschen mehr einfach daran denkt, glaube ich, dass es schon ein bisschen was bringen würde, wenn viel mehr Leute einfach öfter mit dem Fahrrad fahren würden.
Okay, los geht's.
Grundsätzlich kann man sagen, das Verkehrsmittel Fahrrad eine beruhigende Wirkung auf den gesamten Verkehrsfluss hat. Und in Kombination mit einem starken ÖPNV ist das schon ein sehr guter Lebensqualitätsfaktor.
Ja, nochmal in die Kamera schauen, bitte.
Oder den anderen?
Nee, der ist gut. Okay. Jetzt.
Ja, für uns ist jetzt die Frage, ist die Situation für einen Fahrradfahrer zumutbar?
Also der Radfahrer wird von Grund her immer in der Straßenräumlichkeit mit berücksichtigt, in all unseren Planungen. Es wird geprüft, ob hier eine separate Führung des Radfahrerverkehrs notwendig ist. Die Hamburger Straße hatte das Problem eines gewachsenen Straßenraumes, der keine Radwege aufwies. Wir den Radfahrer mit auf die Straße in diesem Abschnitt gebracht haben, zwischen dem Fahrverkehr der Straßenbahn, Lkw-Verkehr und dem parkenden Verkehr integriert worden ist.
So, did you like the road?
Yeah, it was really good. I felt really safe. Whereas in England, when you're cycling on the road, you get quite tense and uptight, but here you can just relax. I find it really good that drivers wait for cyclists, even if they've got a green light. So, I mean, yeah, they really kind of pay attention a lot more.
I thought it was really good, yeah, a lot better than the roads in England.
The motorists are a lot more respectful towards cyclists. They will stop at junctions and let you through, and the cycle path has a priority for cyclists across side roads, and I think that's really good.
An den großen Hauptverkehrsadern würde ich sagen, müssen Radwege sein. Fahrradverkehr an Straßen, wo sehr schnell gefahren wird, der muss unbedingt getrennt werden vom vom Automobilverkehr, sonst ist es zu gefährlich. Gerade auch für ältere Leute. Wir wollen ja nicht nur, dass es so nur die Fitten benutzen, sondern es soll ja für jeder Mann und jede Frau ein Verkehrsmittel sein. Deswegen ist der Sicherheitsaspekt schon sehr ernst zu nehmen.
Schön.
Und bitte sehr.
Bitte sehr. And then, wie geht's?
Wie geht's?
Yeah. And what else? What else did I learn? That's it.
You've learned yes
Sorry
and no.
in German.
Ja, nein.
Oh, ja.
Entschuldigung.
Entschuldigung.
Ja.
Yeah.
So you've learned loads.
You can get by, it'll be fine.
Cycling, it's just completely opened my eyes.
Wer ist denn von euch heute mit dem Fahrrad in die Schule gefahren?
Most people tend to stare, but they will laugh. And everyone else just stares. Some people smile at us, but other people just laugh and stare, and some people don't even notice. It's not really that much of a big thing. I mean, the first time I cycled to school, a few people were like, "Oh, you cycle to school, that's a bit strange." But then, now, it's just normal for them. If I come in with all my stuff, they're just like, "Okay, you cycled to school." Well, I am different. I'm very different to everyone else, so it just makes me even more different. And I like being different.
Because I'd enjoyed cycling so much in Bremen, I found that I really wanted to cycle here. It was wonderful to cycle there because there were cycle paths everywhere, whereas here I'm finding I'm having to go on the road quite a lot, and the road's quite busy. There's a lot of cars and there's a lot of noise and traffic. I find it quite difficult because the car drivers don't anticipate what you're going to do. They don't seem to know what to do, and they seem a bit confused. I don't think they try to be aggressive or unhelpful, but a lot of the time it just flummoxes them. There's this bike in front of them, this person who's not riding really fast like some sort of speed biker, and they're riding quite a slow bike, and they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to hold back or whether to overtake you or how much room to give you, and it's just, I think they find it really, really sort of strange.
Well, in Bremen, I really like cycling because there's so much more confidence about the cars in there, the cycle paths. I haven't been cycling in Darlington after Bremen, but I'm still a bit scared of the cars, and I don't really want to go on the pavement because there's old people in that. And I borrowed my friend's bike to go to the shop, and I was cycling on the pavement, and the old man was like, "Which way are you going? There's a road there, so cycle on the road." And then I just went, there's no cycle paths. That's all what I don't like about Darlington, cycling in Darlington, because there's like no cycle paths.
Ever since I've got this new bike and I've got people cycling with me, it's become more of a social thing.
Cycling to school and exams has been really useful because it relaxes you before an exam and you just feel prepared and ready to go. And a lot of the time I'm cycling on my own, but it's great now Kate and Nicole have the same kind of bikes as well, so you don't feel as self-conscious if people make remarks on it. It's really good for socialising as well.
You don't really feel like you're cycling, you feel like you're sat up there and just like gliding along.
Just seeing people out of school, people think, oh, what is that you're riding? It doesn't bother me anymore because I just think that they're jealous and they want one really. You get used to it and you start blanking them, and sometimes like Harry says, oh, did you hear what she said? And I'd be like, no, I didn't even notice. But yeah, I just think it's a relaxing way to get around now.
I remember the first time I cycled and there was a group of girls from my school and they were looking at us. They didn't say anything, they just waved and smiled at me. And I was thinking, oh my God, when I get back to school, they're going to talk about me and say stuff. But then another mind of me was saying, you don't have to care what people think. As long as you like what you're doing, as long as you think it's okay, then that's fine. It doesn't really matter. But you still get that pressure and you still get a bit scared of what people are going to say. What if they don't like it? That kind of thing.
Cycle here every day, come on my bike with the bag on the back and ride into work and lock it up. There are a few people riding, and maybe a dozen of us out of 170 teaching staff who ride in every day, so we're probably nowhere near European levels, but we probably are above average for the UK, but still not brilliant really. Could be a lot better.
Sit front wheel and front mudguard into the...
We have about 1,800 students altogether. We have maybe 5 or 6 who ride regularly.
Alright, so that's what fastens onto the fork, and then that's what
Maybe boys on BMX bikes, maybe 3 or 4 lads who come in on different days, but otherwise most of the bikes that I see are staff bikes rather than student bikes. The students that do come in, who come in on BMX bikes, they would consider themselves BMXers and they probably BMX for fun, and they're getting to college has kind of grown out of that rather than being non-cyclists who happen to ride bikes. It's the lack of normal bikes in shops that enforces that, so a lot of the people who do ride in come on mountain bikes that they've modified with mudguards and so on, but you see very few people with actual city bikes. Staff who've gone to Halfords have been steered towards buying sporty bikes and racy bikes rather than buying something more practical that they could use for getting into college.
That keeps the weight down.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that in the car windows or what?
Now me, Harry and Kate are going to try and Ashley as well, organise getting to QE together. And we want to try and cycle with Ashley because we understand how hard it is for her to start to cycle by herself, coming from Eastbourne, and you get a lot of stick from other people when you're just by yourself. But as a group, I think it makes you feel better.
I think that the 4 girls could have a big effect on how other people get to college. I know I spotted them one lunchtime. They were riding down the main street that students walk up to get to college, and they're really noticeable and they look really cool, right? Kind of gliding down the main street, and everybody else is kind of dodging cars on the side roads and trying to walk down the crowded pavements, and they look, they're getting into town really easily. It gives people an idea of how a kind of everyday just jump on the bike and ride rather than tucking socks into trousers or fiddling about with helmets and things can make it a much easier and more enjoyable experience.
When the camera was there, everyone was like laughing at us.
It was really awful. It was just like a big point and laugh, wasn't it?
And then that made us realise how narrow-minded some people are.
I've seen some people from school, and that was the big group in front of us when we were going up the hill that were actually laughing. They were like, "Ha, Ashley," but they're gonna have to get over it at some point. So yeah.
Signal the
Yeah.
Oh, Sophia, bless you.
One of our priorities is congestion. The new environmental policies that are coming in are being forced in rather than in the mind, in the head of this is what we should be doing. It's a way of looking. I mean, for years now, the first priority is transport and cars. Now we've reversed that and looked at it from people who want to walk, people who want to cycle. We try to get leisure back into it, to get people confidence again of cycling along the river and areas away from transport. And I think that gives them confidence actually to go onto the roads. But there's an awful lot to do on the roads themselves to make them more cyclists happier to be on the roads.
Als Fahrradfahrerin ist das natürlich auch so ein bisschen wie so ein Schock gewesen für mich. Ich habe mir das echt nicht so schlimm vorgestellt, dass man wirklich wie Luft behandelt wird und keine Rücksicht genommen wird auf uns und dass man schon beide Augen aufhalten muss und ja, sehr vorsichtig und dominant durch die Straßen fahren sollte.
Also besonders sicher fühlt man sich hier nicht. Es ist halt ein Risiko. Man muss
wirklich ganz genau gucken, ob ein Auto kommt, wie schnell es fährt, ob einen der Fahrer wirklich sieht. Also man muss es einfach ganz genau abschätzen. Ein Mann hat sogar seine Fensterscheibe runtergekurbelt vom Auto und hat rausgebrüllt, warum fahrt ihr Fahrrad? Und da dachte ich nur so, was interessiert ihn das denn? Warum fragt er uns? Hä? Also das habe ich nicht so verstanden. Fand ich sehr merkwürdig irgendwie.
Aber diese Straßen, die schnellen Straßen, die fahren wirklich so rücksichtslos, die Autos. Und also das ist echt, man kann nicht normal Fahrrad fahren. Das ist was total anderes, als wenn man bei uns Fahrrad fährt einfach.
Ich würde das eigentlich auch sehr wichtig finden, dass man hier einfach Fahrradwege bauen würde, weil ich denke, dass es vielen Mädchen dann viel einfacher fallen würde, Fahrrad zu fahren. Diese Wege waren zum Beispiel sehr schön, einfach auch mit der Natur, aber für den Abend ist es sehr, sehr gefährlich, vor allem für Mädchen.
There are big problems, and when I took cycling up again really seriously, I had a fear of certain areas of roads, highways, and I still do.
There's hardly any cyclists on the road because it's not safe. So when a cyclist does appear on the road, motorists, they think you're an alien object. They don't know how much space to give you. I find a lot of the time that cars will go past me, and because they've obviously never been on a bike, they just don't give you enough room. You know, they'll speed past you as well, and they don't realise that the speed, you know, the backdraft off is very frightening, and if they just slowed down, it wouldn't be so bad.
What we've done in Darlington is put an emphasis on alternative routes. Now, some of the hardline sort of cycling campaigners think, no, you shouldn't be doing that, it should be on the roads. I don't believe it. You know, I don't believe that, and it hasn't happened that way. We've give confidence back into people who used to cycle and don't cycle now. And that the reason that is happening is there's an awful lot more alternative routes to actually get the confidence back. And then you can use the roads.
I often see the cycleway signs, but you still have traffic going past you at a speed. They're not aware of how much room to give you. So if, for instance, a family were taking their 2 children out, that's not going to give them any confidence. What they need is a cycle lane where they feel safe, where that car can't come near them or can't harm them. It's safety, having the cycle lane.
Die Erfahrungen, die wir hier gemacht haben, die wir vielleicht auch für andere von Nutzen sein können, sagen wir mal, das ist vor allen Dingen, dass man dem Radverkehr Platz gibt und dass man ihm ganz bewusst offensiv Vorteile verschafft gegenüber dem Auto.
So Sand rowing. Beauty and the Bike, Scene 1192.
Der Radfahrer bräuchte mehr Platz.
Scene 1193.
Ich kann die Mädchen schon verstehen, wenn sie sagen, dass sie hier nicht so gerne Fahrrad fahren.
Scene 1205.
Generell muss man einfach immer aufpassen und kann sich nicht irgendwie entspannt aufs Fahrrad setzen und irgendwo schnell hinfahren, finde ich.
Nur, dass man halt als Fahrradfahrer angemacht wird von Autofahrern. Das habe ich auch selber erlebt.
1, 2, 3, 6.
Es ist ein bisschen gefährlicher als in Bremen, aber ich finde sonst, ich hatte bis jetzt noch nie Angst.
Und es gibt so einen kleinen Adrenalinkick manchmal, auch wenn man weiß, dass es eigentlich gefährlich ist.
Ich würde schon hier Fahrrad fahren. Das würde mich gar nicht interessieren, was andere über mich denken. Vielleicht könnte ich dann die anderen auch dazu motivieren, Fahrrad zu fahren. Aber ich würde mich auf gar keinen Fall von anderen beeinflussen lassen. So eine Person bin ich nicht.
Fashion on bikes is always going to be something of an issue. But I don't actually think cycling's as restrictive fashion-wise as a lot of people think. It's almost like my trademark to wear stilettos. All my friends joke about it and they always say, oh yes, Lauren in stilettos again. But I like to look tall and I like to look elegant. It's important for my work as well that I look presentable because I have to go out and meet people all the time. Actually, one of the advantages of cycling is that you don't walk as many places, so your feet don't actually hurt as much when you wear high shoes. So you can get away with probably even higher than you could normally. So I actually prefer to cycle and wear high heels than I do to walk and wear high heels. Around town, I try and cycle as much as I can not because I have to, or because it's good for the environment, or because, it saves me money. It's because I really want to cycle and I really enjoy it. And it's become, as I say, it's become such a big part of my life, cycling. It really has changed my life. It's changed the way that I think about things. It's changed the way that I get around. It's changed me as a person as well. And I think that I've become a lot more confident in a way.
I've been cycling for 2 months on a Dutch bike, which has been really, really great. I've been so much more independent. I can just do anything I want, I don't have to rely on my parents for lifts.
The area where I live in, it's the area of chaffs. So it's the boys with a tracksuit cycling on little bikes, and the girls are supposed to be cool and not cycling on bikes at all. I was scared at first, but now I'm kind of used to it. I cycle every day. People on my street, they see me, they're like, I love your bike. I'm like, thank you very much, thank you. And I'm happy with it.
Since I've cycled a lot more, I'm a lot more stress-free. And even though all my exams have come, I'm less stressed than I was before. And use cycling as a way to relieve that stress. And it's just a much more convenient way to get around. Even though the infrastructure here is not very good for cycling, it's just so much quicker than being in a car as well, because you're not stuck in rush hour and traffic jams, and I can just go wherever I want, because I'm not relying on anyone. I actually enjoy it now, rather than just seeing it as a mode of transport. It's definitely a more social thing and style thing as well, of course. It's just so easy just to ride, and it's so practical as well. You can put your bag in the basket behind, and you don't feel worried about your bag putting you off balance or anything. You just feel really comfortable, and you can just feel really laid back and cycle. It's not like a furious head down, shooting down the road on a mountain bike. It's just kind of the equivalent to strolling, when walking. It's just really gentle and laid back. I've been cycling every day just because I just love the feeling. You just feel so free and independent, and you've got nothing holding you back, and you can just go anywhere you want, which is really great, and it's just been so liberating.
Stop! Where are you going? You can't go in there with those bicycles.
Our message is clear. We've got the lovely girls on the lovely bikes. Now all we need is the lovely cyclepaths. I don't think Darlington Council have done nothing, because there are some good cycle paths, but they tend to be either on new roads or they tend to be sort of out towards the country. So it's great if you want to go for a leisure ride, and it's lovely, but it's not so great if you need to go into town. And that's where the cycle paths are really needed, I would say, is on the roads into town, so people can commute from wherever they live into town by bike. If the motorists could find it in the heart to give us a little bit of the road that could be marked on the road clearly, this is for cyclists, but all it would take is a bit of paint.
The girls in this project have achieved a lot, and they're becoming very popular for it. I think what they've discovered is obvious. Busy roads do need cycle routes alongside them. For some reason the powers that be can't understand what the girls have discovered. I'm not sure that other teenage girls will buck the trend when they've got to fight against this poor infrastructure, and why should they have to fight against such bad infrastructure and bad policy? I do wonder what it'll be like for Libby and Ellie as they become teenagers. I really hope that they can keep riding as they get older, because it does give them a lot of freedom, allows them to go places, meet their friends. As parents, I think there are two things we can do. We can set a good example, and we can fight to change things for the better.
Grundsätzlich ist es schon so, es ist jetzt Zeit, die Perspektive zu wechseln. Und die Perspektive war viel zu lange die durch die Windschutzscheibe. Danach soll die Stadt ausgerichtet werden, die autogerechte Stadt. Das muss komplett umgedreht werden.